So go ahead and grab your drink, grab a snack, and let me go ahead and read you a book. I haven't noticed here on YouTube. Yeah, it's the next morning. I'm sorry. Or the next day. I'm sorry again. Yesterday was kind of hectic due to doing a lot of stuff to make sure that I was good and making sure other things were good. So pretty much errands all day yesterday to where I wasn't able to sit down and read for y'all on chapter 4. So luckily today is a 2-day chapter. We'll do like a little intermission in between chapters. So I'll be doing chapter 4 and chapter 5 today. So let's get into it. First, Disney After Dark, chapter 4. The monorail zoomed past a sea of green trees, heading for a stop at the Grand Floridian Hotel. "This is pretty cool of you, Amanda," Ben said. He wore a Tampa Devil Rays baseball cap and a pair of his father's old sunglasses, which looked too big for his face. Sun disguise. Amanda wore hip huggers and a shirt that exposed her belly button. "We're taking photographs?" she asked. "They're friends of mine, you see." "Sort of," then she confessed. "No, not really. I don't know their full names, so I don't know how to find them. If I can get photographs of their DHIs and show them around some of the other schools, then maybe someone will recognize them. I'm not sure what else to do." "Word is you're going psycho," Amanda said. "I wasn't about to get you mad at me. I'm not stabbing girls in showers or anything." "That's a relief." Amanda allowed a hint of a smile that Finn knew she would rather not have revealed. It wasn't cool for a girl to show she liked a boy any more than the opposite. Boys and girls seemed to spend a lot of time and energy trying to convince one another that they didn't exist. Finn explained, "The problem is, if I'm going to visit the Magic Kingdom, my admission has to be pre-approved. That means telling my parents, and I can't exactly explain this to them." "You haven't really explained it to me, but listen, I don't mind using a couple of my family's comp tickets, Finn. If you're worried you owe me, you don't." "Cool. Is everything cool to you?" she asked. "What's with you and that word?" "You're cool," he said, looking right at her. "Where did that come from?" She blushed and bit her lip to keep from grinning. She looked out the monorail car's window, as if she hadn't seen the Grand Floridian 100 times. "So, why'd you agree to help me anyway?" he asked, coaxing her. The doors hissed shut. A recorded voice announced that the next stop was the Magic Kingdom. She glanced out the window too. "Because I have my reasons. I want to help." She spoke to the glass, then she looked directly at Finn and said, "Besides, I've never met a real psycho before." "Very funny." "I thought so." When she laughed, it reminded him of Belle's. He made a mental note not to tell Dillard that. At the entrance at the Magic Kingdom, Amanda handled the complimentary tickets while Finn kept his head down so as not to be recognized. A minute later, they were inside the main gate. passing the spot where the parents picked up and returned the rented baby strollers. Still looking at the pavement, Finn asked her, "Do you see any obvious security types?" "No. They don't all wear uniforms. They're pretty hard to spot." "Finn, you're not exactly one of the 10 most wanted or something. We're going to be fine." "Hey, there's the host over there," Amanda said. "It's not you," she announced. Finn looked over. A crowd had gathered around the DHI. "That's Charlene," he said. "You ready?" "Yes." "Okay then, here goes." Amanda slinked toward the crowd, then posed for a shot with Charlene as Finn raised his father's digital camera. Charlene looked perfectly real. Absolutely real. Until a kid walked through her. The DHI never stopped talking, never noticed that the kid was playing with her. "You've gone awfully quiet," Amanda said, a moment later as she rejoined Finn. "I'd never seen that before. A kid walking through a DHI like that." "They shouldn't be allowed to do that," Amanda said. "It's disrespectful." It wasn't the act that bothered Finn, it was the concept. A hologram was nothing but light, a three-dimensional image. How could he become one by falling asleep? What was he thinking? "Do you believe in weird stuff?" Finn asked her. "Depends on how weird, I suppose." "Real weird." "Try me." But at that moment, Amanda spotted another DHI and started toward it. Maybach. Finn's legs didn't move. He felt something odd, like someone was watching him. He spun around. Main Street was crowded with people. Finn searched faces. His focus was shifting. He stopped on a white-haired guy, an old guy, wearing a barbershop costume that made him look even older. Wayne. He was looking right at Finn, the same way Finn's father looked at him when Finn had done something wrong. Wayne signaled for Finn to look to his left. There, Finn saw 4 older guys in band uniforms, red jackets, and with brass buttons. It took him a second to realize they were headed right for him. Security? Finn turned to Amanda, who was posing with Maybach, expecting Finn to shoot a picture. He called out to her, "Trouble!" They discussed this possibility and reviewed various options. They agreed that if they had to separate for any reason, they would try to meet up again at the exit from the haunted mansion. Amanda took off at a run without a second thought. Finn tucked his father's camera into his pocket and ducked into the Emporium. Made to look like an old general store, it sold everything Disney. Clothing, dolls, stuffed animals, CDs, and DVDs. It was packed wall to wall with shoppers. Finn hurried past several displays deeper into the store. He passed shelves of princess costumes, a rack of hats and caps, a poster hung from the ceiling by a string announcing the virtual Magic Kingdom. He stopped and used the mirror to watch the store windows behind him. There he saw a uniformed band musician enter the store. Coincidence? The band musician glanced to his right. Finn followed that line of sight to another band member. They exchanged a look, and then they turned and scanned the store. Finn felt sick with fear. He'd blown it. entering the park without proper authorization. His family would probably lose their comp tickets. He supposed his DHI might even be terminated. They were coming for him, quickly and with great determination. Finn worked not to be seen. He found himself cornered in the hat section. "Hey," said a little boy, looking up at Finn with awe and wonder. "Are you him?" "Go away," Finn told the kid, not wanting to be bothered. "But it's you, right?" the little boy asked. He stepped closer, sucked in a chestful of air, closed his eyes, and marched right into Finn. Finn stumbled back as the boy fell over. "Wow," the boy said, recovering and coming to his feet. "You're real." The little boy's attempt gave Finn an idea. The Emporium sold clothes. Finn spotted a rack of DHI merchandise, including the outfit that his own host character wore. He snagged a pair of purple shorts and a green surfing shirt and pulled them over his own shirt and shorts. He didn't like leaving his Devil Rays cap behind, but saw little choice. He placed his sunglasses into the empty pocket of his own shorts. Two of the band members saw him and turned. Finn squeezed between them and ran. Several kids spotted him at once, shouting for autographs. They followed after him. Parents played catch-up, hollering at their kids, "Stop!" and "Get back here!" Finn led the children out onto the sidewalk and into Main Street. An alarm sounded loudly as Finn left the store in clothes that hadn't been paid for. Anxious parents clogged the door, blocking the security guys. "Hey!" one of the kids shouted above all the others. "Check it out! 2 of them!" Finn glanced over and realized he was standing 20 feet from his own DHI. His host self was surrounded by a pair of families and was answering questions. The 2 band musicians stumbled out onto the street. They looked back and forth from one Finn to the other. Which was which? The real Finn pointed to the castle. He recited the memorized tour information recorded during the filming at Disney MGM Studios. The DHI Finn, the hologram, not far away, mimicked the same moves and recited the same words from the same script. Unable to determine which Finn to pursue, the band members froze. The real Finn then moved his small group of followers up the street at the exact same pace as his DHI. The 2 were perfect duplicates of each other. Then, with enough distance between himself and his pursuers, Finn slipped down a side path. He quickly shed the DHI Finn t-shirt and dumped it into the trash. He hopped out of the ugly shorts, slipped his sunglasses back on, and made off at a run, headed toward the Haunted Mansion. 10 minutes later, Finn spotted Amanda waiting on a bench near the Haunted Mansion's exit, as planned. A neat apron of lawn surrounded the towering brick Victorian-style structure. The paved area in front of the entrance was divided with chains and stanchions into 3 lanes, including one for the holders of Fast Pass. Parked against the mansion's front wall, equidistant between the entrance and exit stood a gleaming, all-black horse-drawn hearse. Even the windows were black. The harness hung in mid-air. The horse was invisible. Finn waited briefly before approaching Amanda, taking time to determine if either of them had been followed. "Hey, there you are," Amanda said. "I was spotted. I got away, but just barely." "Will they bust you?" "Not sure they can without catching me first. Without proving it's me." She glanced around. "So, what now? How do we get you out of the park without your being caught?" Finn hadn't thought through this possibility when forming their original plan. "I suppose they might watch the exit." "You think? Get a life. Of course they will." "There's a guy, an old guy. I think he might help. If I can find him." Finn spotted a pair of clean-cut young men approaching the Fast Pass entrance, not 30 feet away, just on the other side of the hearse. He and Amanda moved a few feet to be screened from view. Finn said, "Okay, look over my shoulder. See those two tall guys in line? They've got wires in their ears, and I'll bet they're looking for me. And guess what? We're trapped." Amanda studied the two. With Finn's back to them at this distance, he was safe. She looked at the haunted mansion, then at the way the exit line converged toward the entrance line. The two separated by only a chain. You can't leave through the exit line. Not with them there. "I know. But they're pretty far back in the entrance line," she observed. Finn's skin crawled. How to explain any of this to his parents? "So, we're trapped. I already had that much figured out. But they're just standing there waiting." "So?" Finn asked. "So we've got to get them to move," she answered. "And how are we supposed to do that?" he asked, sarcastically. "Call them on their radios and tell them they're wanted somewhere else?" Amanda's brow knit tightly, deep in thought. "They'll move if they see you." "What? Are you crazy?" "Shush," she cautioned him. "Come on," she said, taking him by hand. He wasn't sure why, but he let her take charge. There was something about her confidence that reassured him. It felt almost as if she'd been through this kind of thing before. The way she stayed so calm, the way she studied the situation carefully. She led Finn quickly under a chain behind the hearse, then between it and a low brick retained wall. She peered around the hearse, monitoring the two security guards. "When I say go, we go," she instructed. "Ah," Ben said, having second thoughts. Amanda watched the line was moving along. The two security guards remained near the mansion's entrance. "Go," she hissed. Together they hurried into the open duct under a chain and cut into the entrance line. A bunch of people moaned and groaned. A few openly complained. As the line surged, Amanda and Finn moved with it. Amanda was not giant, but she was an inch taller than Finn. She rose on her tiptoes, looked back, and warned, "Okay, they're coming." She tightened her hold on Finn's hand. Together they moved with the line, which surged again. A few seconds later, they were inside the mansion. Amanda kept watch behind them. Finn and Amanda stepped into the stretching room, a hexagonal space 20 feet across. Portraits hung on the walls. Finn had just begun to feel safe when, as Amanda tensed, he looked back and saw the two security guards enter. The last two people enter the stretching room before it closed. Amanda rose. "Uh-oh," she said. "What?" "They're pushing their way over here." The stretching room, jam-packed with people, did not make movement easy. A loud voice boomed over the speakers, welcoming the visitors to the mansion. It warned them not to lean against the walls. The light dimmed. Finn didn't need to stand on his tippy toes to see the two blonde heads coming towards them. Amanda pulled Finn down into a crouch. Together they ducked and moved through the crowd. It seemed that the floor was beginning to sink. It looked and felt as if they were going down, down, down in an elevator. The walls stretched, the ceiling receded above them. Even the oil paintings stretched longer. "We're cooked," Finn said. "No," said Amanda, still leading him. "We're okay." They reached a far wall. Finn glanced back. The two guys were still pushing through the crowd toward them. "You're dreaming." "We'll use the chicken door," she said. "The what?" "When I was something like 5 years old, I was completely freaked out in here. Screamed my lungs out, totally lost it." As she said this, the room's floor stopped moving. The painted portraits now stretched grotesquely, and a dead man dangled from a nose attached to the ceiling. Some kids shrieked. Amanda continued, "My mom got me out without having to ride the doom buggies. It's called the chicken door." "Here they come," Finn cautious in a whisper. But just as he said that, the crowd surged, pressing Finn against Amanda. "Perfect timing," she said, smiling. The two security guards got stuck in the jam, still a few yards away. One of the wall panels opened like a door. The crowd, fat people, sweaty people, smelly people, bald people, and two teenage kids, lunged ahead. The moment the door opened, Amanda took Finn by the hand and tugged. They hurried out into the dimly lit corridor leading to the doom buggies. "Run," she whispered. "We have to hurry," she said. She led him through an unmarked door, immediately to the right. Finn found himself in a narrow, dimly lit corridor, ghoulish sounds in the distance. Amanda ran, with Finn following closely behind her. She proved herself a very fast runner. It's almost as if she's flying, he thought. Seconds later, they headed through yet another door outside again. They were only a few yards from where they'd been sitting only minutes earlier. The black hearse and the fast pass line to their right, the entrance/exit was straight ahead. The air came alive with the sound of piped-in music and the steady rumble of the park guests talking. Amanda glanced back at the mansion. Her eyes went wide, and he knew they were in trouble. She practically pulled his arm off as she drew him into a small gift shop. They ducked behind a carousel of postcards. The two security guys hurried past, only seconds behind them. Finn stood behind Amanda as their arms touching. They've gone, she said. We lost them. Finn held his father's camera. Let's try to get a few more shots on our way out. Disney After Dark, Chapter 5. But you gotta help us, Finn pleaded. Listen, I can't, said Brad the Imagineer, who had produced the DHI film shoot at MGM Disney. Behind him, the soundstage hummed, with forklifts moving equipment around. From the Magic Kingdom, Amanda and Finn had ridden a bus to the Transportation and Ticket Center, and then another to Disney MGM. It was late in the afternoon now, going on evening. Finn had to get home soon, or face being grounded. Brad looked at Amanda a couple of times. Do I know you? He finally inquired. She's a friend, Finn said, interrupting before Amanda could answer. Again, Finn showed him one of the 4 images on the digital camera. That's Willa, remember? You must know how to find her. It's important. Your parents can make a formal request, I suppose. Yeah, right. My parents? Finn complained. It's not like I'm a stalker. I want a phone number, is all. Her school, anything. Brad shook his head, said he was sorry, and stepped back onto the soundstage. Finn called out loudly, What if I prove there's something wrong with DHI technology? This was his last resort. Brad slowed a step, but did not stop completely. What if the DHIs are all in danger? Amanda and Brad looked at Finn curiously. What are you talking about, kid? There's nothing wrong with the technology, he said, taking a step closer. No, Finn thought. He had him now. Get me the names of their schools, I'll do the rest. What's wrong with the technology? There's nothing wrong with the technology, Brad said more forcefully. Nice try. He turned his back on Finn once again. Finn said, An old guy named Wayne, an Imagineer like you. Wayne Kresge? How do you know Wayne? Brad sounded impressed. That's for me to know and you to find out. Call Wayne. Ask him if he knows me. You know Wayne? Brad repeated, somewhat astonished. I know about the Overtakers. The color in Brad's face drained away. Finn thought he pushed him. If he pushed him, he would have fallen over. The sooner you clear this with Wayne, the better. The longer it takes for me to get to the other hosts, the greater the danger. Brad's voice cracked as he said, "No one is in danger." Finn said, "Talk to Wayne." Finn signaled Amanda with his eyes, "Time to go." A few minutes later, they walked past the giant replica of Mickey's sorcerer's cap. "What was all that about?" she asked. "What school do the Overtakers play for?" "School? They're a sports team, right?" "Oh, right," Ben said. He felt he owed her more than that. Have you ever had a dream so real that when you woke up, you were sure you just been wherever you've been in that dream? Everybody has dreams like that. For me, well, it's more like a nightmare. But what if somebody told you something in the dream? Something to look for when you wake up. And you wake up and it's there. "I'd have to think about that," she conceded. Finn felt frustrated. He wanted to be alone with time to think things through. She said, "If you know this guy Wayne, maybe he could help you find the others." "No, he's the one that asked me to find them." Amanda's face was twisted. "Oh." They reached the bus pickup point at the transportation and ticket center. Her bus arrived. She said, "The Overtakers aren't a sports team, are they?" "No." "And you're not going to tell me what they are?" "Maybe sometime." "I can help you, Finn. I want to help you. But you've got to let me in." He saw something behind her eyes as if she knew more than she was letting on. Or was just another girl trick. Finn couldn't think what to say. Amanda climbed onto the bus, pausing briefly to talk to the driver. There were no tickets required on the Disney buses, so why would Amanda stop to talk to the driver? As the bus pulled away, Finn couldn't get the driver's face out of his mind. An old man with white hair, ice blue eyes, and a kind face. Wayne? Was it possible?
I never saw it coming. I couldn't read the signs. I don't know why I let you in this time. I must be blind. I guess I couldn't trust you, 'cause all you did was lie. Oh no, I have to keep you off my mind 'cause of
So
you.
review time. If you remember in chapter 4, Finn went to Magic Kingdom with the new girl Amanda to get pictures of the DHIs other than him. So like Maybeck and Charlene, Philby, and Willa. While getting a picture with Maybeck, or with Maybeck's DHI, Finn saw Wayne. If y'all remember in chapter 1, Wayne met Finn, or Finn met Wayne in a dream, who kind of gestured security who spotted him, and the security was dressed up pretty much in musician type clothing, and that's when Finn and Amanda ran for it. and decided to meet at the exit of Haunted Mansion. Then had to run from security again because security went straight to Haunted Mansion. And decided to go around through Haunted Mansion secretly on figuring out how to get by. Then after finally running and hiding from security, Finn wanted to get more photos before leaving Magic Kingdom. And in Chapter 5, we talked about how Amanda and Finn saw Brad at MGM. And Finn was trying to figure out the last names / first names of each DHI so that he can talk to them or try to find them at their schools. But Brad didn't want to cooperate till he brought up Wayne. And when he brought up Wayne and talked to him, or talked to Brad about Wayne, that's when Brad was shocked that Finn knew Wayne. Because sometimes it is, as a used to be Disney cast member, it was kind of hard to try to meet different Imagineers. I would love, this is going to be a little side point, I would love to still meet an Imagineer from Disney. Absolutely would love to. Other than that, when Amanda and Finn left MGM, they were talking, and Amanda admitted to Finn that she really wanted to help Finn, but she wanted him to let her in. But I can also see where Finn's coming from, where it's hard to let somebody in who doesn't fully understand the dream he had in Chapter 1. So with that being said, it was more of he felt she would have a hard time understanding because she might think that the dream he had was a weird dream. But I understand where Amanda's coming from because she really she's giving off the vibe that she really does like Finn and she wants to help him. And in order to do that, Finn needs to let her in and let her understand why he's doing this. But other than that, if y'all haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe below on my YouTube. Find me on Spotify and on Anchor. So I have Spotify, Anchor for my podcast, YouTube, Instagram, all for the Red Tails. I'm going to put it right here. And that's it. So come by tomorrow as we go over Chapter 6. Bye, guys.